Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, General. I wanted to take a moment and raise some voices that really haven't been heard at this hearing today. I had a chance to go visit a church in my neighborhood on Sunday. It was Men's Day. And of course, the topic before and after service for some of them was Mr. Trump's conviction. And they approached me because they know I'm an attorney, and they were trying to sort through the meaning of the conviction. And so one of them asked me, so Donald Trump was convicted on criminal charges? I said, yes. And he still gets to run for president? And I said, yes. If he wins, he can take office? I said, looks like it. And he paused a second, he said, wow, I got convicted for some misdemeanors, and I couldn't even get any kind of job. Not fast food, not a convenience store, not landscaping, but he can still be president? And I said, yes, sir. Another man approached me as well after overhearing part of the conversation. He said, you know, I got arrested. I didn't even get convicted, but I got fired immediately. And then a third gentleman raised this point. He said, when I got out, I couldn't vote or hold office as long as I was on probation. But Trump can go straight to the White House. And I said, yes, sir, I think that may be right. And I told him too, and I said, don't forget, he got a jury finding of sexual assault against him as well. What kind of job could you get if you had something like that on your record? And they all paused, and I think they were just deeply disturbed by the disparity that they saw between their lives and the life that Mr. Trump is leading. And my wife and I got in the car and we started driving home and cut on the radio, and they do the replay of the Meet the Press and those shows on Bloomberg. And I heard Mr. Trump giving a quote about 2 tiers of justice and how unequally he's been treated. And it sort of struck me that, there may be 2 tiers of justice, but if there are, he certainly is in the much higher tier than the gentleman I was talking with. And in fact, he's in the absolute highest possible part of the high tier. And as Ms. Bush mentioned a few moments ago, Donald Trump had millions of dollars to spend on his defense. He hired lawyers from across the country to be his trial lawyers, to handle his appeals and the like. The men that I was talking to, probably had public defenders who were overworked and underpaid and had case files of, 200 plus clients. And I'm sure they didn't have anybody like the Speaker of the House showing up at their trial, bringing 20 other plus House members, Republican House members, to stand outside and make public attacks on the judge and the prosecutors in an obvious and unfortunate attempt to influence the jury. The men that I talked to, some of them had gone to jail, but they knew that no matter what happens in this case or the cases that are coming, the chances of Donald Trump going to jail are slim and none. So I really struggle when I hear the conversations that's being made about the 2 tiers of justice stuff, because I know just from my experience of having been in these cases that it's nothing like that. And I also know that even if he doesn't go to jail and he's put on probation, the things that these men had to go through on probation or parole is different than what he's gonna face. I mean, they're not gonna be delaying cabinet meetings so he can have his mandatory appointment with his probation officer. They're not gonna be delaying national security meetings so he can do his urinalysis test. And he's not gonna have to get permission from a judge before he flies Air Force One out of the jurisdiction. There's definitely 2 tiers of justice. But to the extent that my colleagues on the other side and Mr. Trump are arguing that somehow he's suffering more, he's some kind of martyr in this context, I think it's ridiculous. To me, this is just another page out of his sore loser playbook. After he lost the 2020 election, he kept saying, there's no way. He's been denying that he lost for 4 years now. He lost to 60 cases plus in courts across the country that rejected his arguments about election fraud. He lost a sexual assault trial. He lost a corporate fraud trial. Now he's lost a criminal trial here in New York as well. And I think it's time that he be held accountable. Now, my colleagues over there, they're gonna keep arguing to defend him, and that's their right. But I think for most people, and some of the polling data I saw last night suggests otherwise, I think the time has come for the public to hold him accountable, and hopefully Republican colleagues on the other side who attack the juries and the like, attack the criminal justice system as a whole, attack the rule of law, will come back to their senses and stand with you and the job that you and the Department of Justice have been doing. And with that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Gentleman from North Dakota is recognized.